What up, everybody? We got internet connection unstable. Oh boy. Let's see if it works, man. We'll see it works. Live from my hotel room in Opelika. Freaking light sucks though. That's not well, get to stay. Apple. Oh. I always want good lights. Bad lights makes it creepy. I always want good lights when you're doing any kind of visual. Any kind of. I can't get that sucker to stay. Lock in, baby. Lock in. Oop. All right, hold on a second. Get this guy. The last thing I do. Okay. Whatever. All right, well, what the hell's going on here? Thing's broken, it looks like. I didn't break it. What we'll do is the lighting is important. Lighting is important. An Apple something hotel. Audio is better, but lighting is looks like straight out of ooh. Tanisha Johnson. Who are you? I'm glad you're here, Tanisha Johnson. Don't know you. I'm not going to hold that up like that the whole time. All right, so we're going to make like scoops. Creepy. I was able to get this thing for. All right, whatever. Uncle Jerome, who's that? All right, whatever. Maybe I can move it. We'll move over here. Hold on a second. Oh, that's better. Hold on. Oh, yeah, there we go. Much better. I'm in Opelika, something like that, Alabama. We're by the University of Auburn. You're in Georgia? Yeah, well, Tanisha, you're welcome. Glad you're here. Like I said, don't know you. I know who Uncle Jerome is, Javier. What happened to my aunt? Dude, are you not watching every single thing I post, Joshua? Jeez, dude. That was come on, man. Kill me. There we go. All right. I fell down yesterday with my tennis shoes that had no soles in them. And I about killed myself. I was like Charlie Brown. Let me get my phone. I was like, can y'all hear me okay? I was like Charlie Brown on the Uncle Jerome. Oh, Uncle Jerome Powell. I don't. Is there anything? I don't know what the. I don't know what he's saying. I don't really care. But anyway, so as I went to go get pizza for my boys and I fell, literally head over heels, and I guess I just freaking scraped it on something. It hurt like crap, man. But I talked about that yesterday. So how dare you for not watching that? So I'm in Opelika, Alabama, which is right outside. Or my pizza survived right outside of Auburn University. And so the Mises Institute, I'm trying to upload this video where I was walking through the town here today, but it's only 30%, taking a long time. So that might be something I'll wait to do that till I get home. Anyway, so I just came down here. They had a meet and greet at the Mises Institute, and that's Ludwig von Mises of Human Action. I don't want to say the big, I hate to say the founder of the Austrian School of Economics, but certainly one of the mainstays. Him, Murray Rothbard, Karl Menger, and F.A. Hayek, of course, would probably be the big four. I don't think I'm missing anybody. Menger, there's probably a guy I'm missing. Karl Menger, Mises, Hayek, Murray Rothbard. There's probably another guy missing, but Henry Hazlitt maybe. I don't know if I put him in that class. Anyway, and so they had a meet and greet down here, and we got to tour a guy's. He does custom woodworking, And so we went to a lunch at a barbecue place down here in a brewery, and then we got to tour this guy who had done custom. He does custom woodworking. It's just amazing because when we lived in Shenandoah Valley, we had a guy who did custom woodworking for us named Willie, and Willie's I couldn't understand half the things he said. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in the Western Virginia line, you speak a whole different dialect. It's Southern, but not the Southern. There's a different Southern dialect that Earl. That's what they call it. You need some Earl in here. Like, Earl, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't understand. It's like, dude, it's like when I came down to the DC area from Maine, no one could understand a word I was saying because I had a Maine accent, dude. People were like, dude, I have no clue what you just said. And I was white. So a white kid from Maine would talk about these black, mostly, it wasn't probably, but a lot of black kids that, no black people in Maine. So a white kid coming down to the DC area. So here's literally Georgia Ave in Silver Spring, and here's DC, here's Georgia Ave, and we're on this side of DC. So no one can understand. Anyway, it's just kind of funny. And so the people here in so anyway, this guy Willie did our custom cabinets, and he's a great guy, and it's like him and his cousin or something like that. And I went to his little shop. It's just like him and a couple of routers, a couple of friggin' saws, and that was it. I mean, his hand, what I'm saying? I'll go to this guy's shop today. Friggin' machinery everywhere. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. I think he says, I mean, he's still got 20 people, but it's nuts how big his shop is with all the machinery. It's just crazy. It's just, one guy, third generation, I think, with hey, my wife just like, are you on here, honey? Baby, are you on here? Because I don't tell my wife I'm in Alabama. She thinks I'm downstairs. Don't tell my wife. Anyway, so we got to do that. It was fun. And then we got there, the guy who's the president of the Mises Foundation, give a talk, and the vast majority of stuff I agree with. For some reason, they still think Paul Volcker beat inflation, and that drives me up the wall. But he recognized that we're not going to pay off the debt. The debt it'll never be paid off. So at least he recognized it. Most of the stuff, I say 80% of agree with it. They're all big on inflation relative as measured by CPI, and I hate that. So anyway, come down here. I said, well, I got some downtime. I'll do work on my book here. Got some stuff to fix. Lots of changes to make, as you can see. Take some time to work on my book. We drove around this part of Alabama, which is just freaking awesome. Went over to Lake Martin, and it's great here, man. It was fantastic. I could easily see retiring here. That's for sure. It's fantastic. What the guy was saying is pretty interesting too. He goes, the interesting thing about Alabama is that they're awash in tax revenue. All right. And they don't have any big cities like they don't have any big cities like Atlanta, because Fulton County, Atlanta dominates the politics of Georgia. Fulton County is getting bluer by the day. Gwinnett County used to be red. Gwinnett County is blue now. Forsyth County is going to be blue soon. And then, Georgia will go the way of Virginia, go the way of Arizona, go the way of basically, I mean, I hate to say it, but North Carolina, where Virginia, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia are going to be purplish to some regard, even blue. I mean, look, Georgia's got two Democrat senators and a Republican governor. Virginia's got the same thing. Arizona's got a Democratic senator and two Democratic senators and a Democratic governor. Nevada's got two Democratic senators and a Republican governor. And Georgia's going to same thing happen. So Alabama, because we don't have any big cities relative to Montgomery's not very big, and then Birmingham's not that big. It's not going to be dominated by like Atlanta is and Charlotte does for North Carolina, and Nashville will do at some point for Tennessee. It's inevitable. I think Tennessee is so far red, it's going to be tough to turn. And South Carolina is so far red, it's probably going to be tough to turn that too, even though with Charlotte, kind of feeding on over to Greenville and whatnot. But there isn't anything like that in Alabama. It's and so anyway, the point what Jeff was saying, we just got, and I completely agree, just turn your back on DC, because it doesn't matter what DC does. It doesn't. It's not. Like he said, to send money to a Republican senator candidate is just it is stupid, and I completely agree. Completely agree. Is the DC is not our friend. I don't care who runs it. They're not our friends, dude. And as such, you just got to turn your back on them. Say, okay, you guys do your thing. I'll do my thing as best I can. You're going to send some tax revenue to DC. You got to give to Caesar what Caesar's, but turn your back on the best you can, and be as free as you can in your locality. And I could not agree more, 100%. And it's beautiful down here. I freaking love it, dude. You know what I'm saying? So you can, we got to. I'm not in. I mean, in Alabama. I'm not a resident here, but they got a nutcase for a governor and a stupid K Ivy lady. Oh, we got to get the vax. What do you say? Called the unvaxxed. What she calls stupid, or the regular people, or the whatever the hell she says. Yeah, well, but it doesn't. I mean, the thing is, they'll let a Republic. See, they won't only have D presidents going for it because they want to have the divide, Javier. They want the divide. They want the left and the right thinking. They want to think that we have it. Oh my goodness! If I just vote harder next time, if I just donate more money, you see what I'm saying? They're always going to have where it's a split. Like right now, the Republicans and the Democrats in the Senate is 48-48 because stupid Fetterman smash is gone. Ooh, I gotta do. Hold on a second, man. I've noticed the last couple of times. Why am I not on Rumble yet? Jeez, man. Crazy. Am I on Rumble? Right there we go. Sweet. Is this FDA approved? Right, man. Hey, Carson, right on. You missed on 8 to 12. You got 8 to 12 inches of snow up there, Jeremy? Damn, in Maine. How about Carson says, have you heard about many meat, beef, pork, chicken, and processing plants burning down? Non-Chinese owned, though. All are mysterious. I haven't heard. Hold on just a second. Live. All right, sweet. Jeremy said, wait. Hey, am I not on the regular? Oh, there we go. Hold on just a second. No. Okay. All right, hold on a second, guys. I just gotta make sure that I can sell some ads on this so I can make that sweet, sweet YouTube money. I didn't realize that I can actually make money on doing these live streams. I don't know how much it works. I just noticed a couple of my live streams I actually made like $15. And I said, well, hell's bells. If I can make $15, I'm gonna make $15, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not too proud. All right, hold on a second. Let me just edit this real quick. Okay. Oops. Hold on a second. What's going on? That's not what I want. Right here. We're gonna monetize that puppy. Kim used to tell. I hope Kim's all right. Denise, you heard from Kim? I haven't heard. She hadn't emailed me probably. I mean, in a long time. Probably in almost going on a year now. I hadn't heard from Kim, but probably since almost 9 months now. Yeah, so I hope she's okay. She used to always be the one to tell me, make sure you're monetizing. Kim, whose husband died last year, right after they retired. Yeah, man, hold on a second. I'll make this right there, save. So I want that sweet, sweet, sweet George Soros money. Apparently, Mike Bloomberg used to advertise my channel. That's pretty funny. I mean, he didn't know it was me. I just kind of cracked up. Give me just a second, folks. That's the thing with Rumble. I don't know how you make money off Rumble. It's interesting. When I first started being on Rumble, they know what they're doing. I made like $50 like the first month on Rumble. I was like, wow, it's pretty cool because I just started at Rumble. I probably made $10 since. I said, I know what you guys are doing over there at Rumble. You guys, it's the give away your product at first, get the guy addicted, so he comes back for more. So I knew what Rumble was doing. All right. Vote early and vote often. Yeah, that's what Jeremy just said. A foot of snow. Can't lie, that doesn't have any appeal to me, man. When I'm down here getting sun on my sweet, sweet pale skin. Oh, man. Fishers, Indiana. No snow in Florida, right, man? Mobile. I did 6 years in Mobile, Alabama. It won't matter, Vaughn. It doesn't matter. Why is Alabama a horrible place? Alabama freaking crushes. Turns out paintball guns work well to get heavy snow covered branches lifted off power lines. Just saying off. Turns out paintball guns work well to get heavy snow covered branches lifted off. Ooh. Yeah, I can't believe you guys. That's nuts. I mean, I'm down here. I'm getting sweet, sweet tan on my pale skin, my white skin. And you guys are up there, and I'm getting that vitamin D just going through my body. Getting healthy. And Charlotte and I got to plant some trees. Not trees. We got some bushes to plant tomorrow. Got a bunch of bushes from Costco I got on sale that I want to put in the ground. Not cherry trees. Blueberry trees, grape trees. I got to put those suckers in the ground. Oh, you guys are getting snowed up there. It doesn't matter. That's actually funny. So I'm setting out these tables with 12 inches of wet snow just north of Portland, Maine. Damn, dude. Ugh. Don't say that all the people up north will move there and just nah, they don't. They don't want to move to Alabama. Move to Georgia is one thing, but Georgia has Atlanta. They don't want to move to Alabama. I tell you, man, you got to look at Mississippi too. Talked to a guy the other day. He said Mississippi beaches were nasty. I said, really? I don't know. Any of y'all ever been on Mississippi beaches? Because they look pretty good to me. I mean, I've never been there, but they look. I like Vicksburg is a crap hole. Don't ever go to Vicksburg, Mississippi. But Starkville, Mississippi, and all those places right there, freaking fantastic, dude. More northeast, yeah, right on. I think, yeah, no Costco. Where are you at, Joshua? No Costco near you? Just Rumble? Okay, cool. Harpsville. All right. It's Bailey Island, right? Is that where you're at, Josh? So we got Joshua, me, another Joshua here. Then we got Josh Well in there, Harpsville. Isn't that Bailey Island? Yeah, Alabama kicks ass, dude. Yeah. That's why 100%, dude. That's why freaking blueberries grow like weeds in the southeast because we got such acidic soil. It's fantastic. Oh no, for real? Google's in Alabama? Oh boy, that's not good. It's time for the Charlotte City Council to approve the next police ammo purchase. A routine thing. The first vote did not get approval. Crazy. And they're gonna gripe, they're scream bloody murder when the crime drives people out of the city. It's just whole things. So anyways, we're at the Mises thing, and these guys are saying, talking politics and all this, and I'm just like, dude, it doesn't matter. I'm not so sure about Huntsville. The University of Alabama, Huntsville is the sole bastion for free thinking when it comes to climate change science, and they hate that, dude. They hate it. They actually got John Christie. It was one of the I think it was John Christie. He actually got a bullet shot through his window because he stood against the climate change Nazis. It's crazy. Yeah, but who wants to live in Florida, man? I'm just goofing. Anyway, so we're sitting around the Mises table and talking to these guys. Actually, my table's all of Georgia. One guy from Coweta County, one guy from Augusta, Georgia. He and his wife, all old guys, and one guy from I forgot where that guy was from. And just as two of you guys are intense about politics. I'm like, dude, man, you got to stop, man. It doesn't matter. So the guy I was talking to, he's like, he was in the army. He was like, look, the empire is going to fall. I literally think, and this is what we're talking about today, probably 10 years. And when we said the empire is going to fall, it doesn't mean it's just going to all go to pot. It just means, I'm telling you, man, the dollar isn't going to be the world currency anymore. And I don't think that means it's going to be devoured. I don't think it means like that. I just think it means I don't even know. But I'm just like, just because a dollar is not as well received, and essentially we've been exporting our inflation for many, many years. And that's kind of the context of my book. we've been exporting inflation since we've allowed the globalism to take off. So inflation, and this is what pissed me off when people say Camp Shelby, Mississippi. Where the hell is that, man? I haven't heard of Camp Shelby, Mississippi. And so we've been offloading our inflation because we're the only game in town for the last 4 decades, probably 5 decades. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. And all these idiots who say, "Oh my goodness, the cost of living's through the roof," relative, they don't know what they're. I'm sorry, no, they don't know what they're talking about. Just make a freaking phone call today. Can people just not recognize that back in the day when the Raiders won the Super Bowl in 1970, Super Bowl 11 is in 1976 or 77, 77. For me to call Grampy, and I'm going to show you right now. You guys want to see something crazy? Watch this. Watch this. So all these freaking fools, because I hate it. I hate this. I hate when people say the cost of living's through the roof. No, it's not. It's not through the roof, man. That's a bald-faced lie. And I'm arguing. Well, I'm not even arguing. Some guy on LinkedIn who's a financial advisor saying that too. He's like, yeah. I was like, you don't know what the hell you're talking. Either you don't know what you're talking about. You don't, because we've been exporting our inflation for the last 4 to 5 decades, which is great for us. But those days are going to end. I mean, again, when I say end, I mean it's just like one day we wake up. I don't mean like that. I just mean it's going to be more scarcity of our goods. There's going to be more scarce. However, there is something that makes me very happy, and I'll share that with you in a second. That makes me think there is a light at the end of the tunnel, which I think is pretty optimistic, actually. But the collapse, how many bases does China have in Mexico? How many bases does China have in freaking Guatemala? How many bases does China have in Honduras? None. Do they have people down there trying to stir up stuff? Sure. How many bases do we have? Everything. We know Germany doesn't have enough money for its own military. They even said that. They're relying on us. They've been relying on us for all these years. So we told the world we'll defend them, but they got to buy our goods. I mean, it's just that simple. We've exported our inflation by basically being the world's police force. We can't do this anymore. It's done. It's done. The debt will never be paid off, ever. It's not going to happen. And when people say, well, then the foreign countries won't buy our bonds, they don't even own our bonds that much anyway as it is now. That's what the guy was saying today. Kind of ticked me off. The Mises Institute, he said, yeah, at some point the Chinese won't buy our bonds. Dude, the Chinese don't even own that much of our debt. They just don't. So if the Chinese stop buying our bonds, it's really not going to mean anything. What happens is that the productivity of the United States is what makes our dollar valuable. That's it. Has nothing to do with the printing press, has everything to do with the productivity of the United States. And we are still the most productive country in the world, bar none. And there's a reason I'm actually still kind of optimistic. Not that we want to be the world's empire, because I don't want that. I hate that crap. Actually, it's funny. Today I was sitting there thinking, me and this guy were talking. And again, this guy was in the Army right after Vietnam, older guy. And we're both thinking, man, I don't pledge allegiance to this. I never freaking pledge allegiance to the American empire to take on the world. I said, 100%, dude. I could not agree more, because I didn't sign up for that crap. I said 100%. You know, what the hell? Like, I didn't sign up for us to be even thinking about going to Ukraine. You know, I'm just crazy. I could not agree more. Anyway, they have plants. How many? If you're talking about the Chinese plants, how many bases do they have? Military bases. How many bases do they have? How many bases does the Chinese have in Europe? How many bases does Russia have in Europe? I mean, I'm literally, Ukraine. Okay, I didn't realize Ukraine is part of NATO. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ukraine has always been part of NATO. Who knew? No. At some point, you got to recognize we're the bad guys. We are the bad guys in this regard. It doesn't mean China, Russia is good. It's just the bad guys will not continue to win forever. It's not going to happen. And so we're not going to be able to, that doesn't mean, you hate America. No, love America. Freaking love America. I got a freaking American flag tattooed on my arm because I love America, but I hate this crap. I hate empire. And we're an empire, dude. 100%. It's not going to keep going on for that. It's just people aren't going to have it. Anyway, so the point being is when they stop using the dollar to dominate everything, that's going to be a good thing. Because the reason they're using the dollar is because we said we'll provide you your level of defense. Just use our dollars. And people say, we're going to do on our own. And guess what? We're going to come back, baby. Come back to good old US of A and say, Ukraine, Zelensky, I hate to say it, buddy, you're on your own. The most corrupt government in the world, Ukraine, you're on your own. We'll say to freaking, I don't know, Germany, you're on your own. South Korea, you're on your own. It sucks to be you, but you've rode this gravy train too long, as we have too now. We have too. It's been a two-way street. You sent us cheap goods, we export our inflation to you, and you took our dollars. It's a win-win for us, but those days are gone. And actually, so what's going to happen? You can see it about way. It's not even going to be like a decline. It's just going to be a decline in what we're accustomed to. I'm telling you. So anyway, I just want to show you guys something. So this is from the one second. And all these fools, inflation. They're not. See, that's the thing. Everyone keeps saying this. Everyone, I mean, they're like, Bill, stop with the freaking fear mongering people. Bill Gates isn't buying that much farmland. He's just not. It's like when people say, oh my goodness, we're all going to be paved over, the United States going to be paved. Do you know how big the flipping United States is? This is what drives me crazy when people say they can see the curvature of the earth from an airplane. No, you can't. The earth is huge. It's gigantic. You can't see it from an airplane. So when you think you can see the curvature from the earth from the airplane, you can't. You're minimizing how big the freaking earth is. It's gigantic. And if you actually fly over and you look, you're like, there's a lot of uncharted land down there. So Bill Gates can buy a couple 100,000 million acres. Yes, that sucks. I don't like it. But what are you going to do? You can't stop it. I mean, it's a private transaction, man. I don't like China buying our farmland, but they're not. I mean, I agree. We should put limits on that. I have no qualm with that. So no, if you're not a resident of the United States, you're not buying our land. But it's not like they're buying the land out from under us, so there's not other land for us to buy. It's nuts. And by the way, this is another thing this guy was saying. This was fantastic too. Or was it him? Someone else was saying this today. No, it's my man Paul from Pockets of the Future, who used to live in India, and he's Paul from Pockets of the Future. He was I don't know whether some of the Indian religion thing, I can't remember what it's called, but it's gone corrupt now. And he says, I'll never move out of the United States. He goes, ever again. He goes, because you know why? Because the minute things start going south, the first thing you think they don't like us, dude, because we've been riding high for a long time. So when things start going south and you're a foreigner in their country and you're American, they ain't gonna take too kindly to you, dude. That's all there is to it. I'm out of touch. Yeah, 100%. That 100%, dude. Best thing about America is there's a rifle behind every blade of grass. Yes, sir. There's no evidence he actually said that, but specifically, it's kind of like saying Trump. What was the thing they said that Zelensky said? I don't need a ride. I need ammo. He didn't say that, but the sentiment is 100%. Well, if I'm out of touch, you're out of here. You're a block user. Look, dude, don't get on my freaking live stream and say, let's just go someplace else. I'm out of touch. Then leave. The ban's coming, man. The people who get stupid like that, I'm banning you just like that. No second chances. So if you got something stupid to say, I'm freaking banning you. I just got no tolerance. Life's too short, dude. Time's getting short, man. We don't have time to be footing around with freaking people who can't see can't take any kind of truth. We don't. Oh, you got thin skin. Yeah, I do have a thin skin. When it comes to the defense of my family, damn right I got a thin skin. Anyway, the point being, I want to show you guys something. So this is nuts. You'll get a kick out of this. I'm out of touch. Here is AT&T basic residential rates for 10-minute daytime call in current dollars. All right. So I lived in Maine, Peaks Island, Maine. We had a party line. Party line means to pick it up. There's Grandma Jones on the other line. You're like, Grandma Jones, I gotta use the phone. Well, Sonny, you're gonna have to wait. I'm talking to Thelma down the street about the last episode of Matlock. Like, oh, Grandma Jones, come on, man. The Raiders just won the Super Bowl. I got to call my grampy. Anyway, so here it is. So he lived in Los Altos, California, roughly 3,000 miles away. Right? So 19, right there, 77. That was a $10 call for 10 minutes to talk to my grampy, saying how happy I was that the Raiders won the Super Bowl against the Vikings. That's a $10 call. $10 for 10 minutes. Yeah, don't tell. And this is from, you want to see what this is from? And this will be going into my book, by the way. Reference book of rate, price, indices, and household expenditure for telephone service. The Industry Analysis Division from the FCC. Yeah. But inflation is tearing us up, Josh. It's insane, dude. See this? Let me just go. I'm gonna go into my book again, and we'll show you. I hate it. I hate hearing this stuff because it's fake. It's fake. Uh, let's just go into it. All right, let me bring up. Well, actually, let me find my. I can't stand the whiny. All right, so what we're going to show you here, something I'm looking for. Actually, it's pretty interesting. So this is my upcoming book, by the way. Relax and Retire: Debunking the Inflation Myth. Here, a personal consumption expenses on goods dropped by 22%. Right, from 1959 to 2009, the share of current dollar personal consumption expenses dropped by 22% for goods. Huh. But it went up by 22% on, can you all see that? Yeah. But it went up by 22% on services. Huh. Why would that be, Josh? What was the, let me show you. All right. So let's just keep going. Right here. Second, spending on healthcare, financial services, and insurance has soared. For instance, healthcare rose from 5.9% of total spending to 19.7% in 2009. Much of this cost wasn't paid directly by consumers, but rather by private insurers. On the other hand, over the last 50 years, we've seen two changes in the way Americans spend. First, we're devoting less of our income to life's basic needs. Clothing, footwear, food, and beverages account for just 11% of spending in 2009, down from 27.4% in 1959. All right, why? Let's check this out right here. I want to show you right here. Because we increased imports of goods over 600% from 1959. Look at this. So imports of goods, we increased it from 2.6%. Import of durable goods, which is going to be the things we buy on a regular basis. Freaking the microwave I'm looking at right here, your TV, all that stuff. Only 2.6% in 1959 was imported. 16.5% was imported in 2009. That's a 600% increase. On the other hand, services, we only imported 0.1% increase from 1.2 to 1.3. You know why? Because services include things like financial services, healthcare, things that you can't import. You can't. You might be able to import some of the healthcare workers, but that's not the same thing. I'm not drinking a beer. I'm drinking a sparkling water, which is fantastic. So the point being is we've exported our inflation. We imported our goods, as we can see again right there. Our share of spending on goods dropped. We just at the same time we imported from 2.6 to 13.9. Services, on the other hand, stayed flat, except the expenditures of services went up because they became more expensive because we couldn't import that. That's huge. People are like, we can argue until we're blue in the face whether it's a good thing or not. We can chastise people to buy American and provide incentives for companies to increase domestic manufacturing. But the facts are price matters to most consumers, and prices are what's driving spending. If two items are similar in style, function, and reliability, American consumers will buy the cheaper one, even if it was made in China. Spending less on goods meant we have more to spend on other things like health insurance, financial services, and things of that nature. Oh, look at this. Microwave. Took 61 hours of labor to buy that microwave. I can't see how much that cost. I can make it up a little bit, which cost $400 in 1979 dollars. It cost $59 in 2015. That's a good we imported. So it went from 61 hours of labor for a microwave to 3 hours of labor for a microwave in 2015. And you can see right here, this is the meat consumption. I'm not getting that right here. Here's a gas grill. I didn't have a gas grill growing up. We didn't have any meat. We didn't have a gas grill. We didn't have a microwave. We didn't even have a TV until I was freaking like 10. You see what I'm saying? Never mind a car. We didn't have any of that crap, dude. So here's a grill right here, a gas grill. It's a little bigger. 14 hours of labor to buy that gas grill in 1979. 4 hours of labor now. Now we got infrared gas grills. We got all kinds of gas grills. What else? Oh, look at that guy right there. That's the one I bought right there. An infrared liquid propane gas grill. Mine's silver. I think I can't remember. Anyway, $457. Look at that puppy. $457. This right here costs $1979. I can't see what that says. I can't see. What does that say? No, I can't tell. Anyway, it costs a lot. Relative to what we're spending on today on gas grills, it's not close, dude. We didn't have a gas grill going up. Did you guys have, hey, Rebecca Thompson, did you guys have gas grills going up? I didn't. I didn't have a freaking, all right, let's keep going. Right here. So I've talked about this chart. I'm not going to get this one right now. I want apparel. Oh, actually, I do want to show you guys something here too, because this is, wait, hold a second. Right here, air travel. Here's a 1978 Walt Disney World, $228 for 7 days, 6 nights, including airfare. The airfare was $143, which is 40% off the regular day coach fare. All right. So to go from Boston to Miami, essentially, I guess it's Miami. It was Miami because I remember seeing it down here. So Boston to Miami cost $143 in 1978. All right. I just priced one the other day, last night, $211 from Boston to Miami, and $2,023. All right, let's keep going because I want to show you something else here too. Oh my goodness, 1941, Boston to LA cost $4,300. $4,300, and there are 12 stops. Oh, but it's inflation. That ain't inflation, baby. That's not. So a story, as I was getting ready to say, when the Raiders won the Super Bowl, and I wanted to call my grampy, he was quick on the call, man. Quick on the call. Because Grampy was basically paying, because my mom, we didn't have any money, so, so he was paying for a lot of my mom's bills. And he was also the greatest, the greatest generation, whatever. So he wasn't a very talkative guy. He goes, "What do you think about Super Bowl, Josh?" I said, "Oh, man, Ken Stabler, Dave Casper are kicking ass and taking names. It's awesome." He goes, "Yeah, I thought you'd like that." And he had sent me a Raiders trash can, had a silver and black Pride and Poise Boys poster with Dave Casper, Ken Stabler. I don't think Jack Tatum was on there. A couple of the other guys, I just can't remember. And maybe Otis Sistrunk. Drawing the other guy. They had another black offensive lineman. Otis Sistrunk, and I can see his face right now. I can't remember his name. But anyway, I can't believe I can't remember his name. Anyway, and they might have been on there, but it was fantastic. I don't think Lester Hayes. Now he wasn't on the team at that point. Anyway, I love the Raiders. Loved them like more than anything in the world. It was fantastic. So to call my grampy in 1976 was like an act of God. All right, and on top of that, so in 1980, we flew to see my grampy in California, up in San Francisco. I'd never been, other than going to see the Red Sox a couple times, I'd never been outside the state of Maine ever. And so going to California is during the summertime too, it was like going to a foreign country, dudes. You know what I'm saying? And my mom could afford it. My grampy was a pilot for TWA, so he was able to get cheaper tickets. But those things were freaking expensive. You couldn't just fly to California doing a drop of a hat. I mean, it was expensive. It was nuts. The only other time I had been out of Maine, so I had never been out of Maine, except I think we saw 2 Red Sox games when I was a kid. And then when I was 5 years old, we took the Amtrak from Portland, Maine down to Annapolis, to DC, so I could watch my uncle graduate from the Naval Academy. That's it. I've been out of Maine 3 times in the first, 12 years, 10 years of my life, something like that. So going to California was like going to California. There's a Led Zeppelin song. Anyway, it's nuts. I'll never forget that. And I said, it was a freaking expensive. I remember my mom telling me that. Nuts. You couldn't just go to California. Never mind going to Europe. Out of my friend of mine was born in England because his mom was English and his dad during Korean War met his mom, I guess, on R&R in England or something like that, and they got jiggy with it and they got married and they came back to Peaks Island. And he used to go to England every summer. And I was like, I mean, it was like, I mean, literally just traveling in an airplane back then was nuts, dudes. You know what I'm saying? And that's, it's not like that anymore. It's going to come back for sure, but it's just not like that anymore. Anyway, so the hope here is going, seeing this guy today who does his custom cabinets. He says, I can't find people to work. He goes, the thing is, the young men who used to come in, now you got to be, you can't just, you have to be, until you're 18, you need a work permit first and foremost. And the fact we're dealing with saws and dangerous stuff makes it, I guess he's saying it makes it harder to get a work permit, or he had to pay more for workers' comp. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't cheap. And you couldn't just get some 15-year-old kid on a part-time to come and operate a saw, a jigsaw. It doesn't work like that. And then he says, not only that, I can't have kids. You have to be 21 to drive the van, because I guess it's I might even need a CDL. I don't know. Like to move, to drive the van, where you have the cabinets in the back, you can't just get a kid to do that. You know, a kid being 18-year-old, you can't. It's illegal. It's the guy's like, I remember this guy from is a German. It's like a straight from Nazis. I said, yeah, the Nazis did dominate the United States. He's like, is some guy from, is a German name. I just kind of chuckled in my head because, like, yeah, knowing what the Nazis did in NASA, I said, it doesn't shock me that they're in state government too. Anyway, he said, this guy from Birmingham, wherever the capital of Alabama is, Birmingham or Montgomery, I don't know, whatever it is. He goes, this guy came down here. He wanted to see my work on blah, blah, blah. He goes, look, man, I play everything by the rules. I don't do anything. But he said, you can't have these young kids working for you anymore without workers permits. He goes, what? They got to be 18 now. You can't have you have to have a workers permit till you're 18. And then he says, so now not only that, I can't get kids in high school essentially because they don't want to do it, but B, there's, it's hard to get a worker's permit for them because there's could be working around machinery. And then he says, too, they don't know any math. They don't know basic algebra, geometry, never mind trigonometry. And when you're doing custom woodworking, you need to know these skills. He said, I'll be sitting around trying to train these. He goes, I don't have a college degree, but they don't know, an eighth of an inch. They have no clue. They have no clue. And so then I said, you even offer healthcare? He goes, no, I can't afford healthcare. It's like freaking $500,000 a year. I don't have that kind of scratcher. He didn't say that for healthcare because I can't afford that for my employees as much as I'd like to. Where's that money going to come from? I can't pay that cost to the customers. They're not going to pay for it. I'm already competing against cheap imports. Anyway, then his workers' comp is through the roof because he said 4 times a couple guys got injuries on their fingers in 1 year. And it's just out of pocket, out whatever it's called, outpatient essentially. But because he had 4 dings in 1 year of outpatient services, his workers' comp went through the roof, and his unemployment insurance went through the roof. Even though he said, but nothing happened, didn't matter. He said, so it would have been better if someone died in my plant as opposed to, because that's a 1 incidence as opposed to 4 incidences of small minor stuff. His insurance guy said basically yes. Anyway, so the saving grace here, and this is where it's that the machinery, because we're talking, probably 20 of us, all sitting around, and he's like, look, these machines is actually interesting, manufactured in Germany, by the way, because Germans still are they know how to put things together. Shocking, but anyways, these machines, I don't need as many employees. I made $1 million more of revenue with less labor costs last year. Now, a couple of reasons, because we had a good year after the COVID, but I don't have as much labor. I'm down about 25-man workforce. That's it. Because you're seeing these gigantic machines, these sucking machines for the dust particles, these sanding machines. He goes, they don't call in sick. They don't have workers' comp. You know what I'm saying? They don't. I don't have to train them on an eighth and a 16th of an inch or 3/8 of an inch, and they cut it perfectly every time. And not only that, they cut it. I can cut 3 to 1. Remember the old John Henry thing? You know, John Henry, the railroads. It's like John Henry and the railroads all over. He goes, they just human beings can't compete. And I was like, so I'm in my, so we're all thinking, because we're all, I hate to say right wingers, but Austrian economists, we're economists, but economic followers, like chaos theory, essentially. We're all like, man, that's interesting. So what does that mean? Well, it means he's pushing out a lot more product, a lot quicker and a lot cheaper because he has to pay the labor cost. That's a huge deflationary component right there. Now, someone's got to manage that. I mean, you got to still have you still has to have a ghost crew of you still needs 25 people. It's not cheap, but someone's still got to be able to program it. Someone's still got to. I mean, you saw the machinery. Like you could walk behind the machine, you just see all these parts. Like, damn, how does anyone know how to fix that stuff? Someone's still got to be able to do all that. But that's one guy and another guy to program it probably. But that takes probably 5 people off the line. You see what I'm saying? And for us to get our custom cabinets, that means they're still going to be cheaper than they were before because there's less labor going, and labor is the biggest cost of employment. I'm just telling you. So it's interesting. A lot of people say, "Well, what are people going to do for work?" That's where it gets exciting. That's where it gets exciting. You can have more and more old school shops, like the way it used to be. The cobbler, you know what I'm saying? The candle maker, more and more of that because they can be more efficient. They don't need as much labor, which means there can be more people offering doing other kind of services and businesses because machinery can take over a lot of this stuff that used to be manual. I think it's great. I mean, I as long as people take advantage of the opportunity that they have. But man, you're sitting there thinking, this guy made $1 million, now not profit, $1 million of revenue. I mean, that's a whole lot different than profits. $1 million more, but he spent 9,000 less on labor cost. That's a big turnaround, dudes. Big. And that perpetual cost will go down because of workman's comp, unemployment insurance, all that other crap. You see what I'm saying? And so it's funny, like like the Luddites, destroy the machines. No, man. And it's going to see the same things happening on the farm. Obviously, technology, what we're using here, uh, it's great. It's great. That's not going away, man. That's not going away. What's going away, though, is the ability for the American empire to export our inflation. So this is what makes it kind of an interesting dynamic, almost like a butting of heads. We got mass deflationary stuff with machinery and technology. With the same time, Art Shell. That's Gene Upshaw and Art Shell. That's it right there. Otis Sistrunk, Gene Upshaw, and Art Shell. That's right, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's it. So you got more. We're not going to be able to export our inflation, i.e., by importing cheap goods as much. We'll still have some of that. Don't get me wrong. But then if we can get off the snide and not make it so the freaking cost prohibitive to hire just some 25-man shop. You see what I'm saying? And he can save the money to invest in technology. Oh man, I don't know, like my man Josh here. I don't know how he does it with like so. Here's a lobsterman. I don't know what technology would do for him. He's just a mom and pop guy fishing for lobsters. I don't know how that would change. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm just talking about custom cabinetry. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if like you're a plumber. I don't know how that works. You're still going to need plumbers, and there's probably going to still be a guy to have to go in there and do all that stuff. I don't know if there's going to be a machine that's going to replace a plumber. And that's probably a good thing. Electrician, probably not. But in terms of the things that are produced that used to be very laborious, it's going to be less so. And my guy's got Josh, speaking of which, I'm out to have to go plow a tug out of ditch. I got to go plow. So yeah, oh man, 12 inches of hard, cold, rainy snow up there. Oosh. Yeah, the main reset. It's a good channel. Everyone subscribe to the main reset on YouTube. It's a good channel to talk about what the lobster people are going through. Yeah, well, human beings can't compete, but that doesn't mean we might not be able to be to dig as many ditches as a machine, but we can compete up here. And that's why Chat GPT is so silly. It's still programmed by human beings. Anyway, so I'm a art shell. Yeah, art shell kicked ass. Um, oh, speaking of Medicaid, my man Jo just texted me on this. I don't think there's 90 million people on Medicaid, Charles. There's only 330 million people in the United States. Um, I don't think a third of the population is on Medicaid. But anyway, so speaking of Medicaid, my man Jo just texted me something, which is pretty interesting just a couple minutes ago, which I'll report back to you. He says, uh, Medicaid ejections have begun. It's early, but Georgia is first. I say Medicaid ejections. People's Medicaid determination was put on hold due to COVID. So people stayed in Medicaid without any financial audit. That ends now, and Georgia is the first. National estimate where Medicaid will be canceled is probably 15 million people. 15 million people. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe Charles is right. Maybe Charles is right. 90 million people. I don't buy that. Maybe he might be right. I don't know. Let me take that back. I don't know. Anyway, so Medicaid, remember that's impoverished. You know, you're not supposed to be on Medicaid if you make money. So I said they'll have to get private insurance, and Jay said yes, with little or no idea how ACA or APTC works. Well, about damn time Medicaid is bankrupt. Um, yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's none of us are all that worried about Medicaid, but it'll be interesting to see how that flows into. I mean, see, that's the issue, man. We gave people a free ride for so long on Medicaid, on the funding for not working, all that stuff. Those, we can't do that. Yeah, dude, I don't know what I'm saying. Healthcare for people who actually have private insurance costs almost 15K for a family. Dude, a hell of a lot more for me. The issue is that what so as free market people, I've always said what the government should do is get the hell out of it. Don't Businesses shouldn't be in the business of healthcare. I mean, it's just stupid, man. I mean, having this guy Roger, freaking who's a custom cabinet builder, be involved in people's Medicare. I mean, healthcare is just stupid. The businesses should be as far removed. So what should happen is the government should get a voucher. Ooh, this welfare. Look, dude, the ship has sailed, man. The ship has sailed. The government should give a voucher so people could go buy their own insurance in the private market. It's kind of what they do with the tax credits. I will frankly grant you. I was talking to a guy yesterday in Ohio. Was it Ohio? They have PPOs in Ohio for Obamacare. Where's that guy's talk to? Hold on, I gotta remember who it was. Hold on a second. Maybe it wasn't Ohio. No, I don't. Hold on a second. No, that was a different guy. Because there's no PPOs for Obamacare in Georgia, at least in my county. I shouldn't say that. In my county, Fulton County, Forsyth County, and Cobb County, it's all HMOs. But I was talking to this guy the other day. Yeah, my man, and he's in Montana. They do have PPOs for Obamacare in Montana. Yep. And I said, dude, freaking, yeah, he's going to get 2,000 a month tax credits. That's a voucher. I think Obamacare is actually going to do more for freedom than I tell you, man. I'm actually Obamacare destroyed the private market, but the private market was already eating itself anyway. Let's not pretend like the private insurance market was all that in a bag of chips. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, here's Carson. Calling my wife when dating cost me $400 a month in long distance calls. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. 400 bucks. Yeah, I remember. We'd share a telephone when I was in the army. We had a one second. We had a telephone in our barracks, and actually, it's a true story. I actually forgot about this until just right now. When I went off to Ranger School, I was gone for 3 months, and I came back, and I got like a some kind of like a court order from whatever the NYMEX or whatever the one is in New York State for like past. It wasn't a court order. It was like a they sent me to collections. That's what it was. And I was getting ready to get out of the army, and it's like they couldn't get out until my collection was paid to the New York phone company, New York Bell or whatever. I was like, what? So I don't have any. What the hell, man? I said, I don't, I don't owe you anything. They said, here's your bill. Is like $500. It's in 1990, like the latter part of 1991. So I'm getting ready to get out of the army, and then like, I had like 3 months before I was going to ETS. That means you're getting out. And I said, what? I mean, I said, where did this? I wasn't made aware of it. It like waited a year. So I got back from Ranger school. It was like it took a year before they freaking, before I got some kind of thing. Anyway, I said, I don't know. And I remember my first sergeant was like, dude, you can't get out. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember the whole specific. I just remember like it was. I couldn't do what I needed to do to get the hell out of the army until that was paid for. I can't remember why. I said, why does that have to do with the army? I can't remember. But anyway, maybe because it built to the barracks or something. I don't remember. So what happened was that when I was in Ranger school, people were using my phone making long distance calls. You see what I'm saying? My roommate was, and well, actually, or some people were getting in my barracks. I had a roommate, and people were using the phone to make long distance calls and not paying it, and he didn't pay the bill. It was on my name, so it was like $500 in bills, dude. And you're a soldier. You're not making crap. You're making like $8,000 a year. I don't have $500. I'm like, what, you crazy? Anyway, so I'm sitting there thinking, and so long story short, my mom's husband, we didn't have a good relationship, but he's not a great man, but he wrote a letter to New York Bell and to my I want to say my company commander, or maybe my battalion commander, saying this is New York Bell taking advantage of a soldier who's away in Ranger school trying to better his career as a soldier to defend this country. It was he goes, we'll take this to court, to sue. We're going to sue New York Bell if they don't drop this immediately, because he was not in the barracks when this happened. Said, damn, his name, my mom's husband's name Henry. I said, man, and they dropped like a ton of bricks. They said, because he goes, we'll bring the publicity to you. And my mom's husband used to be the district attorney of Cumberland County, Maryland, Maine, by the way. He lost to a person of a certain Abrahamic religion, and he did not take county to that group of people. It's funny after that, because they said they lied about me. They said he lied. The guy who I lost to lied about me, and no one cared. No one cared. And if I said anything back, they'd call me let's just put it this way: the ADL would have been on Henry like white on rice if he said anything back. But yeah, that guy could lie about him, but Henry couldn't say anything to anyway. The whole thing is crazy, and the ADL sucks. Let's just admit the ADL sucks. Joel Greenblatt, he sucks. It doesn't mean you hate Jews if you say that. You hate Israel. The ADL is a left-wing tripe. That's all there is to it, and you don't pay them any mind. It's kind of like the SPLC down here, and are they? I think they're in Alabama. The Southern Poverty Law Center. It's just left-wing Marxist crap and nuts, and they get rich off the rich libs. The ADL gets rich off the rich libs. The SPLC gets rich off the rich libs up in the northern climes. It's insane. They're hedge fund managers. It's nuts. Anyway, so they dropped that pretty quickly, and but I'll never forget. It was like about a month and a half there. I was like, what's going to happen? Because I was like, anyway. So they said we'll sue you, and you might win. The publicity will be bad. You might just want to walk this one away, and they did. So I'll never forget that, man. All business love military. Say no to the commando force members. Yeah. Oh, good point, man. All businesses love. Yes, I bet that's right. I bet you're right. I bet it's funny because it kind of reminds me of when I was in basic training. My dad had access to my checking account, and he was bouncing checks like a freaking drunken sailor. And so I get out of basic training, and we're going up to AFES, and I had no clue. I had no money. I mean, I'm writing I probably bought a carton of Newports for like $10. I don't know what the hell I bought at AFES. That's a PX. And I pass a check. I pass another check, and they both bounced. And my first sergeant came in. He said, and I didn't get promoted. I got a Article 15, I had extra duty, whatever it was, and I didn't get promoted from E1 to E2 for like 6 months. My freaking dad had access to my checking account. It was writing checks while I was in basic training without telling me about it. Freaking scumbag. And on top of that, so my dad had, let's just put it this way, not good with money. And so he'd gone bankrupt a couple times. So like an idiot, I co-signed for a credit card for him. So he's run up, guys, dude. Anyway, so he ran up massive amounts of bills, debt on the credit card, and he didn't pay it. And I remember one day I was in college and I lived in Fairfax with a couple of my roommates while I was at George Mason. My dad had a house in Alexandria that he was fixing up he was trying to flip it. And, to his credit, he did let me stay there for about 6 months for free, for rent free. So I give him credit for that. But one time I went to his house, I grabbed the mail for him and I saw something made out to me, a Visa bill. I was like, what the hell? So I opened it up because I've been anal about debt, dude. I'm anal about it. I've seen what happened to my dad. I said, I don't want that to happen to me. I've been anal about it. I guard, I guard that like I guard my wife around friggin' Joe Biden, if that makes sense. If Joe Biden got anywhere near sniffing my wife's hair, it's lights out. If you know what I'm saying. Of course, Joe Biden's already got lights out, so he doesn't know what he's doing. But anyway, you know what I mean. Probably shouldn't say it on YouTube. But if Joe Biden was to sniff Charlotte's hair, I'd just say, hey Joe, whatever. Anyway, but the point being was, I opened the bill, I'm like, dude, freaking $10,000 on there. It's like he was making the minimum payment. And so not only was there 10,000 bucks on there, it's being charged like 25%. It's like, what the hell is happening? So I confront him. He goes, yeah, I was going to pay it when I sell because he's in the middle of putting together a restaurant slash bar in Arlington, which I invested in. I said, Dad, what is you, what the hell? Anyway, long story short, so he when he finally sold his bar for a little bit of profit, he wrote a check to me to pay off the credit card. The check bounced. And so I sent it to the credit card. The credit card says, sorry, now you got a bounce check fee on top of the debt not being paid. My dad said, okay, I'll make whole. I said, okay, sweet. Well, he paid the credit card, but he didn't pay the bounce check fee. I said, Dad, you got to pay the 35 bucks, non-sufficient funds. He goes, yeah, that's not my problem. Yeah. Anyway, so my mom was always on the counting side. She always liked the numbers. My dad was just, what the hell? He just bad. So I follow my now. That doesn't mean my mom's good with money. It just means she liked the numbers. That's why she was an accountant. And so I was like, I like that side of it. So I always follow my mom's footsteps in that regard. From what my um, oops, uh, yeah, here's Jeremy saying he remembers having 300 max text messages per month. After that, it cost 25 cents a text. Anyway, so my mom was always good with accounting. I always liked that part of it. She liked to dive into the details and seeing how my dad. We'd be driving from DC up to see my brother and sister, mom up in Maine, and we'd be like literally on fumes. And I said, all right, Dad, we got to stop and get gas. There's a gas station. She goes, I can't use that one. I said, why? He goes, I only have a Gulf station credit card. I said, well, can't you use it with somebody else? He goes, no, I have to find a Gulf. I said, well, we're running low on gas. He goes, yeah, I know. I hope we can make it. I said, how do you live like this, man? I said, Dad, how do you live like this, man? Like no one would give him credit other than Gulf. I'm sure they charged him. This is when I was, I don't know, freaking 17, 16 years old or something like that. I said, I just remember driving through like the Bronx on fumes. And they're like, oh, Dad, what do you, how do people live like that? I mean, literally, people are like that. They literally just live in the moment. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm like, I don't know how people live how do people, like, for instance, 100%, Joe, 100%. You're a drunken sailor. Um, But like for instance, if, like if you're in Atlanta and you get a plane that takes off at 1, how do you leave at 11 if you're on the north side of Atlanta? Yeah, I mean, how do you do that? Because you have no clue what the traffic's going to be, and well, if anything, you know the traffic's going to be bad. So you're driving down 400 to get on 85, 75. I mean, people live like that. They're like, "Oh, I got to catch a plane." Is it what time's your plane? Not an hour, but I'm like, what? I don't know how people live like that, man. It's crazy. I've never understood how, like, because I get to the airport like 3 hours in advance. I don't play. I'd rather be sitting on the deck there, whatever it's called, the waiting, the freaking gate, picking my nose and like sweating bullets trying to find a parking space. One time we're going to me and this guy Jordan, we're flying back to San Antonio when we're still at USA, and we couldn't find a parking space to save our life in Atlanta. It's like and it's like pouring rain. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning. The rain was coming down sideways. I said, dude, I don't know what we're gonna do. There's no parking here, man. I said, I can't just leave my car on the side of the road. It's crazy. I can't remember what we ended up doing. I think we parked. I can't remember what we did. I think we finally found one, but it was like, I hate the airport. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Always put a hoarder in your money. 100%, man. Always put a hoarder in your money. Yeah. I don't know if my dad lives paycheck to paycheck. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in 20, almost 25 years now. I'm not sure. Probably, but I think my dad was like a lot of those people um, that if they get the money, if it comes in, they're spending it without any thoughts about the future. And I don't know what I literally don't know what his financial. Well, I don't know. Frankly, I don't really care. But I think that's one of the things that people they just say, if I got, it, I'm spending it. It's burn a hole in their pants. And I've never understood. I'm like, dude, don't you get nervous that you're not gonna have? I hope we're still on. Yeah, it looks like we're still on. Why? No crap, dude. Uh, So here's Corn Palace Baroque, whatever. You can fly direct from Atlanta to a lot of places. Yeah, no crap. Guess what? Atlanta airport still sucks, dude. Give me a friggin' break. I didn't. Oh, who knew? You could fly directly from Atlanta to a lot of places. Atlanta's the busiest airport in the world. Actually, my wife just showed me this video. It was a TSA guy in the Atlanta airport literally yelling at people. I was like, is that a meme? No, it's a guy screaming bloody murder at people. I was like, holy crap. How and that Boston, freaking the TSA people, you go and want to give them hugs. They're all fancy. They're all fine, polite. That's Boston's not a small town. I mean, hell, Newark. I mean, not quite as good as better than Atlanta, but not that great. But Boston's fine. Phoenix, freaking San Antonio. People are fine. It's Atlanta. It's like they're nuts. They're like entitled, man. It's crazy. And it's just I don't get it. Anyway, so Boston Airport, other than have to figure out the stupid the car park place, the rental car place, that's kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, if you can do it, it sucks, but it's not very efficient or user friendly. But I love Boston Airport. Of course, the best airport ever was Charlottesville, Virginia, or Tyler, Texas. Oh, check this out. So you just pedal up, freaking drive up. You're like literally. So let's say, I mean, you can park right here, and that's like the terminal on the Charlottesville port right there. You park, put your money in, and you walk up there, and you're through the gate. Is no waiting. It's clean. It's quiet. No one's jumping up on you. Yeah, it sucks. You're probably not gonna be able. You're probably gonna have to do a thing over in Atlanta, but man, you're in there. You're like, oh, this is great. Same thing with Tyler, Texas. I remember I had it when I was coming back. I was interviewing for a job before I started this at Tyler, Texas, of all places. And there's no straight shots from Tyler, Texas to Atlanta. So we had to fly from Tyler, Texas to Dallas to Atlanta. And so I could just drive to Dallas and escape Tyler, Texas. I said, no, let me just go to Tyler, Texas. Same thing, dude. 20 steps, you're in. No one to. Oh, man, it's fantastic. Boston's like that, too. Boston's easy, man. It's freaking awesome. And I'm sure there are times at Boston where it sucks. But I probably flew to Boston Airport, freaking 50 times. And every single time it's been just, probably twice. Just in and out. People are friendly. You're like, oh, then you come to Atlanta. You're like, I'm going to jump off a bridge. It's horrible. Yeah, I'll never go to foreign airports. I don't know. Is that true? I don't know where Hank Williams Jr. is from, but Hank Williams Jr. lived in Montana for a while. I do know that, Prairie Mark. So if I'm talking about Bocephus, not Hank Sr., but Bocephus, he lived in Montana. So there you go. Yeah, Alabama kicks ass, dude. All right. Hey, I don't want to be in no. Yeah, plenty of what kind of white knuckle around Logan though. Hartford, Iowa boy, not used to traffic. I never had that. Maybe it's because I live in Atlanta. I don't know. That never bothered me. Just coming. I mean, I just remember like I was working in Portsmouth, so I'd come from Portsmouth down to Boston, to get my flight. I'd never had any problem just coming down. I think it's Route One actually. Never had any issues at all. Going through Chelsea and all that, nothing. I mean, got backed up a little bit, but it's compared to Atlanta, dude, Boston, nothing. You're like Boston. Everyone's like Boston, it sucks. I'm like, nah, come down here, baby. Coming down to Atlanta. I mean, even today I got caught in traffic on today. Let's say Saturday, nuts. Is this going to Muscat? I don't know where that is. Bloomington, Illinois, and Daytona, Florida. No, nothing's better than Tyler, Texas, and Charlottesville, Virginia. You can look it up on Google. Chat GPT will confirm. Marie says she gets nervous after 3 lanes of traffic going 70. Well, I get nervous when there's 3 lanes of traffic. Oh, sitting there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, I'd much rather have it go at 70 than sitting there, especially when you got people coming up behind you. You're like, man, am I going to get rear-ended? Military teaches things rational. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Maybe the Navy. You said you're a sailor. I'm not so sure I agree with that. All these people like the military. Well, yeah, I get it. I mean, the military didn't teach me how to manage my money. The military just allowed for those 4 years for me to mature, so I could meet my wife in college. Because my wife is 4 years more mature than I am, which I'm 4 years older than she. So we are able to overlap now. If I was when I was 18, I was a freaking idiot. And she was literally, probably the same maturity as a 14-year-old, which she was. So by the time I got out of the army, went to college, I was 22, she was 18. I was more mature than her counterparts at her age because I'd already served 4 years in the army. And I was a man. A lot of these other kids are just kids. So I was able to mature in that regard. Now Charlotte's always been more mature than her age. Yeah, she's one of 9. Her dad died young, you know what I'm saying? So she was only one of the 9 who went to college, even though her parents both spoke Chinese. They were both professors of China and Chinese, you know what I'm saying? So it's weird how none of them went to school except for her. It's interesting. I actually have thrown out of Hartford once. Yeah, man. That was actually pretty good. Oh, oh, oh no. My battery going dead? Well, my battery can't be going dead already, man. I wouldn't know what to do driving on an empty freeway. I was in the 10th Mountain Division, Tom. Watertown, New York, Fort Drum, New York. Hank Williams Jr. lives in Wisdom, Montana, part of the area. You got buzzed for buying a resident hunting license. Yeah. How dare you? Wasn't much traffic down here in Auburn, Alabama. I'm telling you, if y'all haven't been to Auburn, Alabama, ooh, let's do this. We're gonna have some fun, actually. Atlanta's horrible, dude. Jeremy, you like the Atlanta airport? Really? Oh man, Atlanta airport sucks, man. You actually rode the plane train, Jeremy? Come on. I walk because I'm a physical specimen. So whenever I go to Atlanta, I just walk, through the African stuff, the little fake jungle. They got all those the Martin Luther King stuff. You know what I'm saying? I just walk because it's better. Because I'm always here early. Every time I come to Atlanta, when I have to, and I do not want. Actually, I am going to fly I guess twice this year. I don't want to, but the boss who's in charge, we're flying. So, anyways, that's fine. Anyway, so we get to the airport early, and when I'm just flying by myself, I get early and I just walk instead of taking the plane train or the plane. Yeah, plane train. That's what it's called. I bet Jeremy's like, "Can I get a? Can I have someone in section 7 to push me, please?" Jeremy's like, I hurt my pinky. Can I get someone to push me in a wheelchair? And the wheelchair guy's like, "Dude, what the hell? You're a young bucking, guy, 35 years old. You know how to take out engines of Jeeps. Why you do? But my pinky hurts, sir." The guy says, "Oh, that's right, because you're in the National Guard. That's right, that's right. So come on. In fact, you can we'll carry you on a stretcher. How about that, Jeremy?" Jeremy's like, "Yeah, I think I deserve it because the Maine National Guard." Actually, Jeremy, you're in the National Guard, or are you in the? You're in the National Guard. Yeah, you're not in the Armed Reserve, right? You're in the National Guard. Um, I was in the National Guard, dude. Just FYI. So I get to bash Jeremy for being the National Guard. The National Guard is actually harder than being a full-time soldier. I'm just telling you right now. National Guard freaking sucks donkey balls. There's no two ways around it. You know why? Because the National Guard is part-time. On the National Guard, you freaking you're working, you're doing your day-to-day stuff, and then you got to go every month for 3 days. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. 3 days. And then for 2 weeks during the year. And you're like, dude, I got to make money. I don't make crap in the National Guard. Especially when I was bartending. I was like, man, the weekends where I make my bank. If I'm only bartending 3 of the 4 weekends, I'm losing a lot of money. Did not matter. Did not matter. I sucked, dude. I was like, what if you ran a business? What if you had a family, dude? Ugh. Is it true that a bank can call a mortgage? No, 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 dude. Come on. Well, I mean, you're signing a contract, man. They can't just later. I mean, if it says it in the contract, they can, sure. But if your contract doesn't say a bank can call your mortgage, I mean, it's going to be specific to your contract. National Guard. Yeah, Jeremy says he's in the National Guard. So so when you guys get invaded up in Maine by Massachusetts, just remember who's guarding the state of Maine from those massholes. It's guys like Jeremy. All right. So Boston, the Bostonites are taking over. Elizabeth Warren's going to come and she's going to make, basically we're taking back Maine for my fellow Indians because, the Abenaki tribe, we're taking it back. We're taking back Maine to give to my brothers in the Abenaki tribe. You're like, well, I thought you were Cherokee, Elizabeth. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant, Cherokee. Well, they didn't have Cherokee Indians in freaking Maine, you fool. Oh, yeah, well, still, I'm now Abenaki. Now they got to call it Wabanaki. They don't call it Abenaki anymore, so you got to put a W in there. Oh, speaking of which, let me show you. I don't think I have it out here. Yeah. I'm reading a book on my man, Benedict Arnold, who crushes. Everybody hates Benedict Arnold, and they're wrong. And this guy, so if you ever read any Maine stuff, and you should, Kenneth Roberts had wrote a bunch of historical fiction on Benedict Arnold and just other stuff that happened around the Revolutionary times on Mosby's Rangers and all that stuff. So freaking Kenneth Roberts. He's just one of the best writers of all time. So I came across this from a guy on up in Maine through the Howling Wilderness by this guy right here, Thomas Desjardins. That's how you say it, Desjardins. And before Benedict Arnold was branded a traitor, he was one of the colony's most valuable leaders. September 1775, 1,100 soldiers boarded ships in Massachusetts bound for the Maine wilderness. They had volunteered for a secret mission under Arnold's command to march and paddle nearly 200 miles to take Quebec from the Brits. Oh, dude. Not nearly as good writing as Kenneth Roberts. This is more of, this isn't as historic. Kenneth Roberts was historical fiction. It's great. This is just a kind of like a playbook. And I was like, I was hoping it'd be a little bit more of a storytelling as opposed to just kind of the facts. My wife got paid a little extra coffee money. Being retired and married to a young hard worker is almost like heaven. Usually married some decades young. Yeah, well, Jeremy's dating a young Phil. I think Jeremy and your lady, is she young Filipina? Tampo can hurt. I don't get what tells Tampo. Yeah, but the Brits have taken it. Freaking Brits. It's actually interesting. Quebec is French. Yeah. I don't know what Tampo is. Yeah, so look at all these guys with their. It's all right, dude. Yeah, CD rates at 5%. Freaking crush. Joe's at the Atlanta airport. Yeah, nightmare. That's in 1996. That was during the Olympics. I'll continue to follow. Basically, I want to. Yeah, speaking of which, let me show you. It looks like my battery's dying. I forgot to bring my plug, but I want to show you guys. You guys are gonna kick out of this. This is from. That's so freaking stupid. That's what I'm saying. We don't have time to tolerate fools anymore. The days are getting short. How to approach your retirement savings so you can get off the 9 to 5 early and spend more time traveling. And this is from, so check this out. This chick says, to figure out how much money you need to retire by 55, Doe suggests a common rule of thumb. Take your current salary and multiply it by 10. Keep in mind, this is just a jumping off point. There are many factors you need to consider. Your current salary and multiply it by 10. If you earn $80,000 a year, the formula states you'll need to have $800,000 to retire. Now, keep in mind, if you're planning to retire at 55, you'll need to have enough saved for 20 years or more. Using the formula I just shared, that means you'll be living on $40,000 a year or half your salary you're accustomed to. For some people, it's not be enough. 40,000 might be. I'm just what is this insanity, dude? She suggests looking at the FIRE. The basic premise of FIRE is to cut expenses drastically and live off 25 to 50% of your income. I mean, I don't have any ill will towards FIRE. I just like, dude, who's got the scratch for that stuff? Does no one in the FIRE community have kids? Crazy. Quality time remaining. That's a good one. QT. Ooh, I like that. Quality. Ooh, that's a good one, man. Hang's 88. Hong's 88. I hope 88 doesn't mean what I think it does. Please tell me it doesn't. Oh, God. I had another guy on here who's Irish 88. And if you're familiar with the 88, it's a veiled attempt to be a Nazi, literally. It's just like, it's so freaking embarrassing. I mean, I'm like, dude, and I think I banned him. Irish 88. I said, dude, take that crap out of here. You think Hitler was favorite white people? Are you freaking insane? Hitler did more damage to white people than any other person probably walking on the face of the earth, to include Stalin, for heaven's sake. Oh, it's embarrassing. I'm like, dude, I hate that crap because it's infantile. And I'm not saying this guy's it. I'm just saying if you got 88 and you're okay, gotcha. Good. So I hate it. And don't get suckered into that, my friends, because when bad times come, it's easy to make your skin the uniform. Don't do that. It's easy for that. And you don't, because it's idiotic. That doesn't mean you go, so you're just as warrior. No. I'm not at all ashamed of my white skin. I'm not proud of it. Just who it is, what it is. I'm not proud. I'm not ashamed. I'm not anything. I'm completely oblivious to it. But to say I'm white pride, like, why? What did you do? Why would you be proud of what other people did? That doesn't make sense. You can be proud of their actions, but it has nothing to do with their skin color. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like saying, people don't even know, Muslims had a lot of mathematical skills, all right? Well before any of our guys ever did, the white guys, you know what I'm saying? I mean, hell, we were just sitting around picking our nose, or the Muslims are running rampant over us. They probably became what we're going to become here. They probably got too fat and happy, and whatever. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what happened. Too many bathhouses, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know. The same thing's happening here, but that's why it kind of fell apart relative to what we, the Europeans did, 400 years later. But It's like it's embarrassing. Like every now and again, you see this guy Irish 88, some other people like, oh, don't be like that, man. When things get south, dude, you gotta have a tight group of people you're familiar with. That shouldn't have nothing to do with race or religion. I mean, it could have. I get it. You know, religion. I suppose I would just say people that you know you can trust and be there for. I remember when we were growing up, my first house in Maine, we lived on. I think I even mentioned this a little bit in my book, Return to Peaks Island. My mom would say, go to Mrs. Smith's house over there and get, a couple eggs or, a cup of sugar or something like that. That's what we used to do. Hey, can you go over there to, Kelso's house and get a, freaking whatever. Well, no one does that anymore. It's weird, man. I mean, maybe people do. We don't, but it's just like we don't do that. I assume we don't do that anymore. Where people say, "I go see. Man, I'm missing some. I need a cup of vinegar. I don't have it. Let me go over to Marie's house and get a cup of vinegar." You know what I'm saying? And exactly, Scott. Still can't figure out how the pyramids were built. 100%. 100%. Yeah, 1488. Hey, Hermit Money. All right. Well, I got my eye on you, Hermit Money, because you say some weird stuff on here. 1488 is a bad one, but he said Irish 88, his level of vitriol relative to certain things was just like, dude. And Frank, I literally don't care. I just don't want anything to do with it. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to get out of here, guys. Looks like I'm running low on the juice. So, all right, we'll get out of here, man. Real quick. I got hired at a firm for my first job as financial. What are some things that scream I need to jump ship? Well, I have to save that for another one because I am down. Math had to and physics had to be involved. Josh, I don't understand. I don't get what you're saying. Math had to and physics had to be involved. I don't get what you're saying. All right, we got here. Look at my man Prairie Mark. I love the Philippines. I love my beautiful Filipino women. Oh my goodness. The women in the USA say I'm ugly because I am. The Filipino will say I look like Kevin Costner. To the women in the USA, say you're ugly, Prairie Mark. Let's see, here's Angie. We'll just pick on her. Did Angie say, Prairie Mark, get out of here, you ugly? Did Marie say, Angie, Prairie Mark, you ugly? No. You just like going to the Philippines to be tall, and they think you're a rock star because that's what they're trained on. And it doesn't hurt that Filipino women are smoking hot either. So you get to go there like, man, I got money. People think I'm good looking. They think I'm Kevin Costner. I'm 5'4", but I'm still way taller than all the rest of the Filipinos, and the Filipino women particularly. Like, yeah, I get it, dude. I get it. I'm only 5'9". I know it's like, you're like, man, I want to be tall. Actually, my two kids are already taller than me. My freaking 16-year-old is already 6 foot. I'm like, dude. I told him, I said, I can still work you, dude. I can still work. All right, gotta get out of here. God bless. We'll see you guys.